So when you get in a live performance situation, here's a couple of ideas, a couple of suggestions. And actually, if you're a music director, or if you're the leader of your praise band, I'm deputizing you here and now to actually go back and teach these concepts to your band as well. In fact, I'm giving you a license to just tell them all these ideas are yours if you like them. The first thing is you've got to teach your people to pay closer attention. It's amazing because there's tons of cues that are there in the music that can help line up your band. For instance, pick up notes to a section. You know, lots of times if you get in the zone where you're kind of improvising the song and you're not sure what section is coming next, oftentimes you'll have pickup notes that come just before the downbeat of a new section. Well, it doesn't take a whole lot of paying attention to sort of just grab those pickup notes, and even if it's a couple of eighth notes, you know, you can tell, like leading into the chorus of dum, dum, how great. Well, you just had two eighth notes that told you what section you were going for. So you can teach your musicians to pay attention and pick up these tiny cues. The other thing, people will always ask me, you know, if you're in a section where it's just you and a singer, and you know it's out of tempo, how do you manage to follow the vocalist that close? I've never met a singer who could start a phrase without breathing, without inhaling. And even if you're looking at their back, I mean, it's really not hard to tell when a singer goes that's about when the first word is going to come out. You know what I'm saying? So if you're really paying attention, I mean, if you're really listening, you can hear the singer inhale. You can sort of hear the nuances of the way they're doing their line, and you can follow where they're going. So I think a lot of it is just teaching your people to really lock in, to really pay attention. Eye contact is huge. So many times, you know, Schroeder, the piano player in Peanuts, you know, every piece of music he's playing Beethoven, he's like this. I mean, as far as he knows, there's nobody else in the world at that moment. That is not the way you want to play in a praise band. Eye contact is huge. That's what causes you to listen to what the other people are playing. It causes you to react. Honest truth is, as a leader, you can encourage people with your eyes. You know, even giving somebody a nod when they take a solo, or when they, you know, your drummer does a fill into the chorus. It's a really good one. Just giving them your eyeball is a way of saying, yes, that was awesome. So eye contact is a really big deal. Another thought, lots of times I'll use common tones to avoid a train wreck. Like if you're improvising along and you know you're not sure if the worship leader is going to go for a chorus or a verse, you know, maybe you finish the chart and you know you're kind of going beyond the chart. A lot of times what I'll do, I'll look at the downbeat of each section. So I know the verse starts on an F chord and I know the chorus starts on a C chord. And I'm not sure which one he's going to, but you know what? If I play a C, it's going to fit in either one of them. And then as soon as I hear which one it is, then I fill out that chord. So a lot of times a common tone will avoid a train wreck like that. Another really important thing is to lock to the drummer. This is huge. In fact, there's a whole section of a chapter later we're going to talk about this, but locking to the drummer is huge. A lot of times you got to get the band used to, maybe you need to train them with the idea of locking to a click, playing to a click, and getting your music rock steady. You know, this is not the 18th century. You know, this is not Chopin where changes of tempo are the way you expressed yourself. 90% of the music we're playing is locked in rock grooves, and you've got to get your band used to playing with a drum machine, playing with a metronome, locking to the drummer. If you're subdividing at all, chances are that subdivision is going to be locked onto what the drummer's playing in his hi-hat. Most everybody is going to be playing the backbeat. That backbeat ought to be locked down with the snare. And you know, speaking of live performance, basically all of the live performance situations we're in, you've got some kind of monitoring system, right? You've either got traditional wedge monitors, or maybe you've got in-ear monitors. I would say at least half of the bands that I go into when I'm in a training situation, their monitors are way too loud. And oftentimes their monitor mixes are crazy. You know, if we're in a sound check and I hear you know, somebody say, yeah, I'd like just the hi-hat and just the piano and a little bit of the singer. It's like, how unmusical is that? Usually what I tell everybody, let's put in just a real well-balanced album mix in the monitors at a reasonable level, at a moderately soft level, and then highlight each individual instrument by just 5%, 10%. So that what you're playing to is a sensible musical balance, not some strange, bizarre individual instruments. You need to know what's going on, otherwise it's not going to sound like a conversation. You need to be listening to what the other people are playing, so you need to hear a little bit of what they're playing. And then you blend in your part in a musical way. In other words, if your instrument is blaring through the monitors way louder than everything else, you're not going to play well. You need to get your instrument blended in the way it would be mixed into an album. And that's not to say that you're not going to come through a little bit strong in places, but you need to kind of blend your part, not just the volume of your part, but the way you play your part needs to be supported. It needs to be underneath the melody when the melody is active. Stuff we talked about before. So basically, read ahead a little bit, look at the traps that are coming, and hear the part before you play it. Like when I'm reading ahead, I kind of know exactly what that chord's going to sound like before my fingers actually hit the keys. Even when I'm improvising melodies, I'm sort of hearing those melodies in my head before I actually play them. I'm kind of singing them in my head before I play them. So it's an important thing to, your brain and your heart are like just about a bar in front of your fingers whenever you're in a live performance situation. Cool? You got it? Now go back to your praise band, your teaching situation, and tell them all those ideas are yours.